All righty. Are we good? That will be the question. Let's see. Make sure we're live here. Hang on, y'all. Hang on. Let's see. I'm doing this all on like one machine. So if it's crummy, let me know here. And it's crazy how I found out about this. So hello everybody. Welcome to the stream. We're gonna be trying to do this more often. Okay, so um obviously, if y'all are here, we appreciate everybody. I'm getting your comments right now. I'm going to answer them one by one. Let's talk about why we're here. Okay. I came back from a family event and I saw that Shannon Sharpe is out at Fox Sports 1. And I got to tell you guys, I am shocked that it happened at all. I thought it would have happened after the Damar Hamlin debacle with Skip Bayless sending a tweet that was intentionally poorly worded, and I want you to follow what I'm saying, intentionally poorly worded, because as we've seen in the past, excuse me, I just ate, by the way. If there's food in my teeth, you know what? Screw you. It's just gonna stay there because I wanted to come on. I wanted to talk to you guys about this. How are the levels? Are we good? I know the microphone's in my face. I don't have my normal setup. I just moved. Um, None of this is mine. But yeah, like, let me know if the levels are good. Okay, so look, I thought it would have happened after the Shannon Sharpe debacle because Skip Bayless treated that entire situation as he does many times with kid gloves, but also with the intent to insert himself into a story. So seeing that Shannon Sharpe was out now instead of being out because he didn't want to go on undisputed after Skip made an ass of himself after the Damar Hamlin debacle was a little surprising to me. Um, so I saw that he is getting a buyout. This was first reported, credit where it's due. Ryan Glass-Steagall from New York Post, from Murdoch Corporation. So here's what he wrote. Shannon Sharpe's partnership with Skip Bayless coming to a conclusion soon. FS1 has reached a buyout agreement. The show is expected, Sharp's final show rather, expected to be after the 2023 NBA Finals. Sharp's popular Club Shay Shay podcast, which draws a big audience on social media and YouTube, will also be leaving Fox Sports. I got to be honest with y'all. I didn't even know that Fox Sports owned Club Shay Shay. I thought that his podcast, Club Shay Shay, was something that he did independently. Now, I'm gonna get into a few specifics afterwards on where I think he and Fox Sports are going from here. In Glass-Steagall's piece, he wrote, "Bayless, in a stream of conscious tweets sent after Hamlin had collapsed, but before the rest of the game had been canceled, he wrote, 'No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of the game, but how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial, which suddenly seems so irrelevant,'" right? So, where's that sneeze? Oh, that is the worst. When you feel it coming, you feel it right in your nostril, and you're like, "Oh, it's gonna be a big one." Nope, it just escapes you. Alright, so when Skip and Shannon reunited the day after that, that's when Sharp was like, "I can't believe how many times you interrupt me. I'm going through a monologue and you interrupt me," right? So there was that public friction there. Go back months prior. There was public friction on the show between Shannon and Skip when Skip said Tom Brady is a better overall football player than Shannon Sharpe. Whether you believe that to be true or not, it felt personal. And you know how it felt personal? Because Shannon said it was personal. So there were these 2 guys who would butt heads over and over and over again, right, guys? And now you come to this standstill. There was stuff with, like, Baker Mayfield where they got a little too personal, but now this is where we are at, where Shannon Sharpe, who is, in my view, I can't believe I'm saying this, but is underpaid in comparison to Skip Bayless because he's making way less than Skip Bayless. Now is at a crossroads in his career, though he will, of course, be fine. I'll get to your comments in a second, guys. I'll get to your comments in a second. So here's what I think will happen with Shannon. With this like rotating door of people Stephen A. Smith has, First Take is an option, though it is an absolute stretch of an option. If he were to go to ESPN, which seems like it could be the most beneficial to him in the short term, not necessarily the long term, but in the short term, there's a few things. Number 1, you have the most notorious, polarizing, popular figure in sports media that you can go up against in a debate show style with I swear to God, that was the chair that was on my butt. That you can go up against on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith. On top of this, there has been more rotating doors with Monday Night Football. Now, I know that they have Troy and Joe, but to lure Shannon Sharpe to ESPN, they could potentially work in a deal where you know how there's like those the first Monday night, game of the year, there's actually 2, and that's when Chris Berman would call the second game. He could work into his contract in negotiations to potentially call football games if he wanted to, of course. I don't know what his motives are. We're gonna find out a lot more in the next few months. 3rd, and what I think makes the most sense, and which is the most viable, is to go completely independent. Marcellus Wiley has talked about this on his podcast, how it's to him freeing because he talked about how he was partnered up with Acho and he spilled some tea on Acho. And I'm coming to this conclusion from what I heard. It sounds like Acho is a good dude to Marcellus, yet he gave off, at least in my opinion, the feeling that he's like a social climber. So Marcellus didn't like what was going on there. He decided to leave. He has a podcast. He's going on YouTube. He's doing great. And he even said there's more money in it. So we're seeing a lot of these guys defect from main TV outlets where the money was, but because of cord cutting and us just not wanting to buy a cable box anymore and having to pay for the outrageous fees of, let's be real about it, ESPN, Fox News, what have you, which are like $10, if not $12 a month, many of us have decided to cut the cord and go with something that is cheaper. The money is somewhat drying up, though many would say, what about the Pat McAfee deal that he just got with ESPN? If they were to hire McAfee and Sharp, it would be a humongous summer for ESPN, though I don't know if they're going to do it. All right, let me get to your comments here. I'm sorry I'm behind. All right, here we go. Hawks fan says, "What's happening? What is happening?" I'm telling you guys, we're gonna start doing this more. Um, and I would honestly love to do it. I know I told you guys that we're gonna be streaming a little bit in a YouTube short as well. Video games. We're going to be doing video games. Look, I'll give you a very quick story. I moved out of state. My wife and I moved, and with that move, we had a place. Unfortunately, that place is no longer a place. Had to find out where to go from there. I will have some sort of setup here, but I don't know how often we're gonna be doing video games because I need to set up my desktop, blah, blah, blah. Okay. JV Perry says, "How would you rate the Succession series?" Oh, dude, like a 10 out of 10. Like, for me, it's up there with The Wire and The Sopranos. I'm not gonna rank them 1 through 3. I'm not gonna add any other shows because I do think that it's like drama, comedy, action, what have you, but Succession I loved. And I told y'all, like, I regretted not doing more recaps because even though the view count was low, the engagement was high, which showed me that you guys actually cared about what I said and kept coming back to leave more comments on it. So, I mean, I don't even know what another show would be. Like, would people really be interested in Euphoria? I don't think so. I think Succession was just like the stars aligning and worlds colliding in order to make this fantastic show that will go down as one of the greats. Alright, more. Sickness says, "Good camera." Thank you, I didn't pay for it. The company did. One Cool P said, "What happened? No way. I hope I filled you in." Uh, Following free throw says, "This might as well that might as well let that show go." Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot. Now I'm asking all of you because 'cause I'll react off what you say, but who replaces Shannon Sharpe now? I got one tweet that said, "Michael Vick, Kwame Brown." Kwame could be okay as a guest. He, my opinion, would not be great as a Monday through Friday non-cursing TV guy. I just don't see it. Like, he's highly inappropriate, which I love, you know? He's R-rated. Do I think Fox Sports could get him to be PG-13? I don't think so. But who is that next guy that replaces Shannon? One guy tweeted at me and said, like, Rob Parker. Eh, like, I guess, maybe, not really. I don't know why Rob Parker would be the guy. He doesn't really, and I respect Rob Parker, but he just doesn't, bring the eyeballs. That was another guy along with Broussard and Rick Bucher and all those guys that were on, Speak for Yourself, when Colin Cowherd was there and Rock was there. I really don't know who that next guy is. However, what I will say is the folks who are in the department of finding talent have a really good eye for this. So I guarantee they short list, and also with the fallout, started generating those lists. I think what a lot of people have to understand about television is they plan for these things. So with Shannon Sharpe's buyout coming, we're just learning about that. They knew that was happening. They probably knew and were lining up like, "Okay, who do we replace Skip with potentially? Who do we replace Shannon Sharpe with potentially? Who do we replace, Emmanuel Acho with potentially?" Like, they think of these things. So, who do you guys think replaced Shannon Sharpe? Let's see. Serenin79 says, "Why is everyone surprised?" Um, I'm surprised because, like, Shannon carried the show. That's why. I don't think I've seen any website post a Skip take since, he said Mike McCarthy is fat, so he can't relate to the players. Like, when was the last time you were like, "Oh, he said something that was of note?" I can't remember, and that was, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago at this point. I think, everyone's opinion on Skip has just floundered over time. And one of the things that really showed us a lot was when, love him or hate him, all right, Doug Gottlieb spilled some serious tea on Skip. He spilled the tea when all the stuff with Damar Hamlin came out and Shannon and, Skip were bickering. Doug Gottlieb went on his own podcast, his own radio show rather, which I'm sure is ripped as a podcast, and he said, "Skip has a team of people that will go and search his name." And when Doug Gottlieb went at Skip on air, he was then reprimanded for going at Skip, even though it was about Skip's wrong basketball take or something. Sorry, I badly need a haircut and I need to get these hairs trimmed. Something about the Bulls or the Lakers or something like that. And he was wrong, and Doug just, like, said on air that Skip was wrong with his take, and then Doug heard it from higher ups, let's say, and that falls in line with something that former ESPN man, as I covered previously, Ryan Russillo, also heard from. When he was, uh when he was at the Worldwide Leader, he said something about Skip and his basketball opinion, which was also in the wrong, not Ryan, Skip. Ryan checked him on during his radio show. Someone popped in and said, "Hey, you gotta go see XYZ." And he's like, "I'm doing a show right now." And they're like, "No, no, no, it's about Skip, blah, blah, blah." And Ryan's like, "No, I'll do it after." And that hung over his head for the radio show. The power and the pull that Skip has is really, really interesting, which also leads me to believe he could potentially handpick his opponent, whoever that may be, for Undisputed. Cool P asked, "Did he leave or did they release him?" Neither. The reports are it's a buyout. Kevin D. Pierre says his relationship with Skip was broken. It was pretty obvious they didn't want to talk to each other anymore. See, this is a phenomenal comment by Kevin. So, Kevin is saying the relationship was no longer tenable. That is true. I thought that. You thought that. Marcellus Wiley said that on his show. He said, "You have 2 guys that are trying to," what did he say? He said, "These 2 guys that are, being prideful, and they're trying to be, let's say, the king, and they're trying to go after each other's territory." It really seemed like from there on out, ever since really the Brady comment, which Skip was going to do, that's what he does, he's a character. Like, anything he says, you probably shouldn't take seriously because he plays a certain character in order to propel himself in sports media. So, in the years past from, Cold Pizza, the First and 10 segments turning into First Take, going to Fox Sports 1, he doesn't actually hate LeBron. As Draymond Green said, he attached his name to LeBron's name so he would always be talked about and be the contradiction to whatever LeBron does successfully. He did the same with Tim Tebow. He did the same with Johnny Manziel. He did the same by saying a 50-year-old Michael Jordan could beat a in prime LeBron James. It's all literally quite a show. He doesn't believe any of what he says, except for the Cowboys stuff. That's like obviously hits him in his soul when they lose. But on the flip side, Stephen A wearing the Cowboys hat when they lose to the Saints or what have you, that's a character too. Kendrick Perkins wearing the prison suit in the NBA playoffs last year because this team is gonna go to jail tomorrow. Like, that's a character. That's what they're doing. They're doing it to attract you guys. And quite honestly, these like debate shows, are y'all done with them? Have we reached the peak? Like, I think the Skips and Stephen A's and Nick Wrights, I don't know if we're gonna have this in the next 10 years. I mean, sports radio is dying. The entire landscape of sports media is changing. ESPN Radio, there was a report, I wanna say about 2 weeks ago. ESPN Radio is on life support. I think it was Awful Announcing who reported that. Like, the landscape is completely changing. What is next? What is next exactly for Embrace Debate? I really don't know. Hawks fan says Richard Sherman is better at life than Skip Bayless. Alright, if you guys have any idea what that is, I'll just explain it to you. I was gonna leave a link, but I'll explain it to you. What would you say this is? Who left that comment? That was A plus. Hawks fan. Hawks fan, when would you say that was, like, 10 years ago already? 8 years ago? One of the best things we saw in the old First Take days was Skip Bayless going up against, Sizzle. Ball so hard, university. Terrell Suggs, Arizona State. Isn't that it? Yep. So, by the way, Tempe, the Coyotes, rough, rough. But I appreciate the voters being like, "No, this has no benefit to us whatsoever." I'll explain that story in a second. So, I would say it was about 10 years ago when Richard Sherman went on First Take and was, like, reaming out Skip Bayless. And Stephen A, you see him in the 3rd box just being quiet the entire time. Because Richard Sherman heard the chatter from Skip Bayless over and over again, and he would conclude, "I'm better at life than you. I would say I accomplish more in my field than you have in yours," which is debate only if you're a Bayless stan. I mean, Skip Bayless has reached the mountain he was at the mountaintop, he's no longer there, but he was at the mountaintop of sports media. The way in which he did it was dirty, but he did it, and he made millions. Richard Sherman made more. Skip Bayless was the co-host of the number 1 show in, sports television. Richard Sherman was an all-pro. Richard Sherman won a Super Bowl. I mean, that's up for you guys to decide, quite honestly. The Jack says, "What's up? What did I miss?" I mean, I hope I put you on here. Octavius says, "Club Shay Shay." So, yeah, if you missed it, if you're just joining us, Shannon Sharpe, Fox Sports 1 reached a buyout. Club Shay Shay was also owned by Fox Sports, though, obviously, with the buyout, he can take Club Shay Shay, which I believe is at, if not over, 1,000,000 subscribers on YouTube, and my prediction was either ESPN, another network, or the likely route is going independent and keeping it all to himself. Cool P said that had to hurt. Oh my god. We got donos in here? What the let's see. Sports PSP says, "The writing was on the wall, Rick. Damar Hamlin tweet, Skip's disrespect. Shannon will be fine. As for Skip, I'm not. Hope he and Stephen A work again." Um, alright, first off, thank you for the 4.99 and then another 4.99. I really appreciate it, man. I really do. I mean, I've done a few of these. I don't think I've ever seen a dono. That is awesome. Thank you so much. To answer your first comment, um, I hope Skip and Stephen A work together again. Not gonna happen. Wishful. Here's why. Stephen A made an appearance on a Barstool Sports podcast. It was Pardon My Take. He made an appearance on Pardon My Take, and they asked him, "Hey, like, do you ever get the feeling that you would wanna work with Skip again?" And he said, "What Skip and I did was tremendous. I loved it, but no, it ran its course. It's over. There's other things that I wanna do," which I respect, and I do think that he wants to do it. The question is, what are those things? What are those things? There's a few options here. The first is he makes a run for office. What that is? Don't know. He could run for Congress, but at this point, I think he would rather go to be like a US senator. Bomani Jones said it's definitely in the cards because he is so incredibly popular. I don't know if his positions are popular. You know, he does the, um, liberal, fiscally conservative, no, like, very outdated. And then there's the option that he has said so many times over, which is, "I wanna host late night. I wanna host late night. I wanna take over for Kimmel." James Corden is done at CBS because according to one report, I believe it was via LA Magazine, they could not reach the margins to be even in the black. They were in the red. So I think that is an option for him. He has the No Mercy podcast. Everyone's got a podcast. He has the No Mercy podcast. He has ESPN. He's been executive producer. He does NBA pre-halftime host. Honestly, I feel like this is just my opinion. He loves sports, but I do feel like he is really itching to do something else in his life, and not necessarily get out of sports, but dabble in it while dabbling in other things. And he is selling himself as the moderate. He has gone on Sean Hannity's show. He has gone on Bill O'Reilly's show. He had Clay Travis on his podcast. He is trying to reach the conservative masses. I'm really curious what his next move is, but it really seems like it's not gonna be with Skip Bayless. Alright, let's see. Uh, Samoa versus everybody, 814 says, "Wait, what's this? I don't know. What are we doing? What are we doing? What is this? Tell me." The Jack says, "So they decided to go in a white direction?" What does that mean? Who? I need more context here, guys. Styles Young is in the chat. Cool piece says, "Heck no" on Brown. It's Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown, I assume. Czar P says Jason Whitelock? Yeah, Jason Whitelock. I mean, honestly, bad joke, and I'm here for the Whitlock slander, but, like, you could do better. Everyone in the chat knows you could do better. Everyone tells Czar P, "You could do better." The Jack says, "Must be nice not streaming in the broom closet, huh?" I don't think I ever streamed in a broom closet. But yeah. Whatever you thought the broom closet was, I mean, yeah. Stone Crab Angie says, "I don't know what is going on, but I love Rick." I love you too, Angie. Let's see. Gorilla Biscuit says Barkley. Now that is an interesting call. But, like, would it really be that enjoyable? Actually, no. That's not gonna happen. I would love to see it happen because of their beef. The better question is, would Barkley throw away how much he despises and his preconceived notions, which are fair, and the feelings he has towards Skip Bayless, which is hate, would he put that to the side for a bag? I don't think he would. But in all seriousness, I would say to that, Charles showed interest in Liv, right? So he's not afraid to be controversial. He has shown that 1,000 times over. He is in a great spot with inside the NBA. That team, although they are aging, that team is quite far the best on television. I mean, can you name me another show where they bust each other's balls so hard, they will show a member of their team who's like a producer or a director, they have a nickname for him, and then they will cut away after he's, like, allegedly hit on a woman at a, playoff game, then they'll cut to a boat to simulate, the director, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, coming to fruition. No, I would say one show that is going to be in the running is the it's not the Golazo show. Is it the Golazo show? No, it's the one with Micah Richards and Kate Abdo and Jamie Carragher. That show is fun. They have a really good time, which is what it's all about. Inside gets, like, rough around the edges, but it's sorta like comedians roasting each other or roasting the audience where it makes you uncomfortable, but you're still laughing because it is deeply funny. I don't see Chuck ever leaving. He had his chance with Liv, and he didn't take it. So I just don't see it, man. Let's see. Odd Jam says Stephen B. I don't know who the that guy is. Cool P says facts. Shannon made that show, and Skip hated all the props. Wait, what props? Oh, right. I don't know if he hated it. I just think they didn't get along. And, like, here's the thing, man. If anybody's gonna make the argument that, like, Shannon Sharpe, Skip hated Shannon Sharpe because he was a LeBron stan. No, it actually made for good television because they both had their agendas and allegiances. Skip had an allegiance to hate LeBron because that's what put him on and got him to be incredibly popular in sports media, and then there's also Shannon Sharpe, who is the same guy that stands LeBron James over and over and over again, so I don't know, man. Let's see. Plot twist, it's Rick. No, it is not. Uh, Peter says, "Do you think this could be like a first take situation where Max left? Now have different guests for NBA and NFL subjects?" I don't, because the main driver of First Take is Stephen A. On Undisputed, I can say, this is my opinion, but I could say unequivocally Shannon drove that show. The stuff that would go trending on Twitter and like really blow up across social was not Skip's takes, it was Shannon's takes. So, no, I don't think they could do that. Like, if Skip Bayless is having a discussion, and I'll tell you why I put that in quotes in a second. If he has a discussion with Michael Vick, are people really gonna watch? Like, let me ask you a question. Do people go to the pregame show to, watch Michael Vick at times? I don't think they do. And I think Michael Vick is a really interesting character. Um, really interesting dude who has played some really good football, and I will listen to his interviews. I don't know in that set because, like, he had some really bad takes, just some horrible takes. The Lamar Jackson stuff, he's like, "He should have played in the playoffs. You go out there, you do this, you do everything you can to play," which is like, I mean, Pat McAfee and Chris Long talked about it at one point, but like tore it all. Like, what are you saying, man? I think we have graduated from the shut up and play to the hey, players are people too. All right, let's see. James says Stephen A is patiently waiting by the phone. I don't know about that, man. I don't think so. Patiently waiting by the phone. Which one? He probably has like 12. He probably has like a TikTok phone, a Twitter phone, an Instagram phone, a podcast phone, um, ESPN phone, non-ESPN phone. I can't imagine how many he has. Let's see. Trey Barton says, "Is this true?" It is 1,000% true. Yes. Um, I don't even know if I should read this comment. I mean, we're pretty unfiltered here. HXC Matt says FS1 is going to bring in OJ Simpson. You guys remember when Sacha Baron Cohen. You remember when Sacha Baron Cohen tried to get OJ to admit to it? Do you have any idea? I think it was This Is America. Was it This Is America? I thought that's what it was. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, um, Who is America? Who is America? Bro, if you guys haven't seen it, I think it's on Showtime. Watch it. It is hilarious. Hilarious. Biscuit says Charles Oakley would be great, but might beat the crap out of the other host, as in Skip Bayless. Maybe. He could. He could. Local Trees says, wow. Oddgem said, it did seem like that. Yeah, it did. It really did. I'm a spooky kitty says, what's your leftist perspective on the Jordan Pippen drama? All right, so let me just address something before I get into this comment. I'm a spooky kitten. All right. I don't know what your angle is here exactly with writing a comment like that, because to be clear, and you haven't uploaded anything in 5 years. And I do see that one of yours is a Amazing Pippen to Jordan alley-oop. I mean, let's just watch it. Let's just see how amazing it actually is. What was this game? NBA 2K15. So you might be in my age demographic. Muggsy Bogues trying to do a uh layup on like who was that? Bill Cartwright, I think. Horace, Scotty, MJ. Yeah, it was like a 6 out of 10. All right, so Spooky, look, man, I don't know why you had to preface it or even rather throw in the word leftist perspective. There is no leftist or righty perspective on what Scotty said. It was bad. It was really bad. I don't think I'm pretty sure a leftist and a right winger would agree that Scotty is completely out of touch. I don't know what his angle is, bro. I don't get it. I don't know why Scotty would say something like that. The only thing I could bring up is, and I mean no disrespect, I'm just following the history, is that his wife cheated on him with Future and then went after Michael Jordan's kid, Marcus. So I think he's just bitter. But someone put together a Twitter video of like Scotty from years ago, like 3, 5 tops, um, where he said like Michael Jordan is the best, and now he's saying Michael isn't anything. Super inconsistent. I'm seeing a lot of like, oh yeah, he's getting replaced by Charles. Like, guys, he's not getting replaced by Charles. He's not getting replaced by Charles. Joey says, "Who cares? Jordan was the goat." I mean, sure. I don't see this goes into like the debate culture stuff, and I honestly just don't care anymore. Um, let's see. Outside of TYT Sports with Rick Strom, I don't even know what that means. Brett Favre, he might need some cash soon. He could. I don't know what he's trying to do either, man. Local trees. Thank you for the 10, buddy. Appreciate it, man. I enjoy the live take. I'm telling you, we're going to start doing this more. If you guys want it, we'll do it. I'm just missing this. I'm just seeing this rather. Patrick Lord says, just sneeze, no shame in allergies. I hear you. Bro, my Midwest allergies are horrible. Horrible. Vaughn says, I'm going right over to Club Shay Shay, without a doubt. Rick in his parents' basement. Damn. No. No, I am in a basement though. If you want to understand what happened, just go previously in the live and you'll see. 18 Miles says, what happened with Shannon? I would say go previously in the live as well. I told you guys this is a uh, bad setup. But we're here, and I'm glad you guys are here with me. Jermaine says, isn't Club Shay Shay owned by Fox? Yes, so I addressed this previously because I didn't know until I read the write-up on the buyout. Fox Sports owns Club Shay Shay, but in the buyout, Shannon gets Club Shay Shay, which I said is like around, if not over 1 million subscribers. So that is like fantastic for Shannon if he wanted to go independent. Joey says, Jason Whitlock, anyone? And to that, I say absolutely not. He's way too conspiratorial to even touch on the basics of like, what do you think of Trent Williams being the best left tackle in the game? Like, it'll never happen. Michael Irvin, he has a case against him right now. I don't believe that there was a settlement. I do not see Michael Irvin getting back into it, at least until that case is settled or it's played out. Let's see. Let's see. Run, Rafa Run says, if not Emmanuel Acho replaces Shannon, that could easily be, man. That could easily be. I honestly, Considering how loyal he's been to the brand, could happen. I'll give you a name. I'll give you a name who I think would kill on that show. Kill. And they could keep it in-house. It's Joy Taylor. Her takes are better than 95% of anybody in sports media. She comes from a place of logic, of well-founded reasoning, and she really knows her stuff. And if you guys disagree, you don't know what you're talking about. She brings it. She would get my vote. If I were running Fox Sports right now, I would see if she would be interested in going up against Skip. And even though she dogged him previously when she was working in Miami, she scrubbed all those tweets. They're long gone. Some write-ups might have them, but you got to dig for them. Where she basically said, like, he's a character, which is what I said. Joy Taylor would be fantastic and would put Skip in his place. And let me tell you something. Her monologues would go insanely viral because that is what Skip and his team look for in not just him, but potentially also a co-host, because they would search Twitter, seeing what people were saying about Skip. I'm telling you, man, she would be solid. Solid. So I would give it to her. If I were Fox Sports, I would wrap it up and you would try to find the replacement for her on Speak, but then you elevate her to going up against Skip, and it would be tremendous for her, quite honestly. Does Arsenio know about sports? Bro, some of those interviews I want to do like breakdown pieces on because that show was instrumental in media. Richard Sherman, yep, that's another good one. Richard Sherman could be good. John Sally, no. Like, and I mean this in quite possibly the most respectful way possible. The younger generation is who you're trying to attract at some point, right? They don't know who John Sally is. We know who John Sally is. I like John Sally. Does an 18-year-old or a 21-year-old or a 25-year-old know who John Sally is? I'd go with 85% of them who are sports fans, maybe 90% would say no. Kendrick Perkins? Nah, man. Nah, man. Kendrick Perkins, I can't see that. He's also in a good spot with ESPN, unless he sees greener pastures. But you would have to talk about the NFL. You would have to talk about the NBA, which of course he knows, and potentially many other things that could come up. Quite honestly, like, I know this is probably just me, but one thing that I would love to see is some version of the sports reporters coming back. If you have no idea what the sports reporters are, congratulations, you're not old. The sports reporters were like credited um, on TV. Some were Emmy winners. Like some of the top journalists in sports media, didn't matter what paper they worked for, they would go on the sports reporters once a week and really get into the issues around sports. Think of it like Dick Cavett when he had Lester Maddox and Jim Brown on. Obviously, it's very, very different, but it was an open dialogue where people were able to disagree. Maybe they would disagree vehemently with one another and tick the other off, but it would be kept in that arena. It was a really quality show. That's something that I think would be great nowadays, but I think it's too hard. Perk can't talk good. No, you just can't listen. Tony Jones finally caught Rick live with a heart. Oh, you are just a dog. Let's see. Trey says, I loved the sports reporters. The show was sadly doomed when John Saunders passed away. I agree. RIP to him. T says, Michael Kim. Michael Kim is my guy. I worked with Michael Kim. My God, is he knowledgeable? Like, so incredibly knowledgeable. He knows so much about so much. Ask him anything on almost any subject. He'll tell you. And then he'll tell you the history behind it. One of the hardest workers and one of the most knowledgeable sports guys I have ever seen. Ever. I love Kimmer. Great guy. Iram Ali says William C. Roden. Man, I would love that. I would love that. But for a lot of people, he is just an author when really he's so much more. And if you've never read Million Dollar Slaves, go buy it right now. Eye-opening about sports. Martin says no to Acho. How about you, Rick? You senior? Man, quite honestly, they don't even know I exist. And I think I would piss Skip off because he would get taken to task, man. Like, in SNL when they have the super fans and they'd be like, what are the Bears going to win by? 186-2. That would be the score. I would crush that, man. Trip says, it's a great book. Read it in jail. What? Oh, man. So one thing actually that I wanted to do, because we have a ton of books, is send books to prisoners. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, Google it and get involved. Jimmy says, yeah, why not Rick? I mean, it's not up to me. Let's see. Black Wolf, thank you for the 10, man. I appreciate you guys. Black Wolf says, first time to the channel. Deep question. In your opinion, coming from a different race, do you think Stephen A attacks black athletes more harshly and personal than white athletes of another race? Been curious. No. He's had some questionable decisions, but I don't think it's based on that. I think it's based on I want to put this in the best way possible. And I'm just letting you know my laptop is at 9%. So if it cuts out, I'm sorry. Here's what I'll say to that is I think Stephen A's take on Tim Anderson was really bad. I think his Collins stuff was bad because it's quite clear with the analysis he gives that he is in with the owners. And he gets intel from the owners. I mean, he's taking jet rides with Jerry Jones. So I don't think it's necessarily based on race. I think it's based on the relationships that he is trying to keep, who the, let's say, higher ups or billionaires in sports that he is potentially tight with may not like that person that way. And in essence, he is protecting that relationship, which carries more weight and holds more water. He also had a horrendous take about the Nigeria basketball team, and then also had an even more horrendous take on Shohei Ohtani. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's based on race. I would say it's definitely based on what he is, the relationships that are more important to him that he's trying to protect. That's just my opinion. That's from my opinion. I'm giving it to you. Let's see. Iram Ali says, thank you for the great content. You are very welcome. Ohen says, just say he's a sellout. I would never do that. Like ever. I would never, ever, ever do that. Shannon's YouTube is blowing up. Oh, I guarantee it. House of Guard says Stephen A attacks weed smokers more harshly. Yeah, he always does, man. He always does. Tony says Doug Gottlieb is the worst ever. Please, we don't need another white man's perspective take again. Well, you got one already with Skip Bayless. So there is no doubt that, um, unless Doug Gottlieb is a fill-in, it's not going to happen. Biscuit says, love the channel, Rick. Keep up the good work, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. And Black Wolf says, thanks for your perspective, bro. That actually makes sense. Mike D says, Kwame Brown got Shannon cut. No, he did not. No, he didn't. Why why would you give Kwame that much credit? It's so undeserving. All right. Sports Guru Channel says, honestly, they should probably put Joy Taylor and Joe Klatt together on the show because they know what they're talking about in the world of sports. Yeah, but Joe Klatt is not entertaining. He's a great color analyst for college football. He can call any game. His knowledge is off the charts. He's in like the Bucky Brooks, Daniel Jeremiah tier of football knowledge. He can't do that. Willie Vassar says, TYT, I think YouTube content creators are taking over. I mean, we've been knocking. And we got in the basement. So it should be our time. All right, y'all. I'm at 4%. I'm going to end this now, but I got to tell you, I love the crap out of you guys. I thank you guys for supporting me. I thank you guys for being here. I promise you we will do this again. Whether it is breaking news or not, I promise you we will do this again. All right. Hopefully I'll have a better setup next time, but I probably won't because I am houseless right now. So chew on that. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Be good.